This is the MLW Radio Network.
From the hit podcast Mind of the Meanie comes the brand new Mind of the Meanie action figures by Chella Toys. A 2-pack featuring former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie, and his Mind of the Meanie co-host Josh Shernoff with removable microphone. These figures feature 3 points of articulation and incredible likenesses. These retro-style figures can be purchased outside the U.S. at chellatoys.net and inside the U.S. over at mindofthemeanie.com. With only 1,000 made, this collectible 2-pack won't be around for long, so pre-order now. The Mind of the Meanie action figures by Chella Toys. Order now. Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE and ECW star, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
Hey, man, you know what? It doesn't matter how I feel during the day. When that theme kicks in, I feel a little boost of energy, you know? Just,
Nice.
Thank you to Joey Campbell for such a great theme.
Yeah.
It was a happy accident. I discovered on my one of my many days at Al Snow's Wrestling Gym, and he sent me that tape, and I found that song. And here we are all these years later, over 20-something years later, and I'm still, every time I hear that song, I still get the same excitement, you know, as for when I first heard it. I was like, man, that's a fucking wrestling song. You play it, I still get fucking amped up, you know?
It was cool. Always one of my favorites. No joke.
Oh,
it was absolutely always one of my favorite themes. And so the fact that I get to now, like, announce over it is really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Hey, we'll kick things off right now with our Patreon members are asking questions here. Hey, how's the Patreon doing? Is it growing like it should? We haven't heard in a while. Jonathan Chambers, that was from Devin Miller. Jonathan Chambers, I was wondering that too, to be honest. It's going great. The mere fact that you're here asking the question kind of shows. No, it's great.
Look, I appreciate everybody who listens every Monday, you know, for free. Hey, that's cool. But the folks who lay down their money and join us every week live, that's dedication, and it has not gone unnoticed.
No,
that you know it. When I make decisions, or when we make decisions on the show, it's with the folks, you know, our Patreons in mind. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, every time I don't know if this is just a lack of ego or whatever, but I am shocked. Just the other day, I got the notification, and it was actually fantastic because what was the guy? I'm trying to remember. So we got another new Patreon member, and it was just a couple of days ago. I'm going to look it up to see, but I got the notification. The notification tells me, notification kind of cut it off. Their name and welcome to the group, Low Quality Music Productions. That's what it says. That's who joined Pod Squad Gold, a new Gold member.
Awesome.
But it pops up like Patreon, like I just get a notification. I skim it real briefly, and it's like Patreon Low Quality Music, and I'm like, of course, I'm like, oh, what the hell's going on with our Patreon? Like, what is this notification? Because I'm just seeing low quality. Like, I thought they were sending me a notification of like, hey, something's not right on your Patreon. There's some sort of an issue. Turns out it's a dude joining the or dudette, who knows, joining Pod Squad Gold. So we appreciate that. But no,
thank you so much.
Going really well. James Sorensen says I need to upgrade more. James, I have some bad news for you, and I guess for us, you're at the top.
You are Mount Everest.
Yeah. You know what though, Meanie? I think it's only fair to James. Can we open up like $1,000 a month? You know, Sorensen level. I don't want the poor guys just sitting there not feeling like he can support us enough. You know. No, James has been. He is our.
Look, I felt guilty enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Every time
I'm a shitty salesman.
See that James has paid for another month, I feel like we're stealing from him.
I should be wearing a fucking I feel like I should be wearing a burglar mask right now.
In fairness, I'm pretty sure you made a career wearing like the Hamburglar mask.
Pretty much.
So, but yeah, no, Patreon is doing great, and we couldn't be happier. And honestly, it's doing so well that I think sometimes we forget to plug it. So
yeah,
join us at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. We're having a blast over there. We're going to be doing a Zoom call this Sunday. As you're hearing it, not as the Patreon members are watching. It's not tomorrow. But for those of you who are hearing or watching this on Monday, we will be doing a Zoom call on Sunday, the 25th. 25th? No. Oh, wait. We're doing it this Sunday. We're doing it tomorrow, right? Oh, crap,
Always
man. I'm all over the place.
Always on time.
So, yes. Okay. So, sorry if you're listening to this on Monday, you missed out. We had a great Zoom call last night.
As always.
Yes. Oh, they're so much fun. And
if
you have joined us on our Zoom calls for That Was Extreme over on Ad Free Shows, I know Gertner's not there with us on this one, but that's the type of fun we are having over on the Zoom calls. We're just having a blast. We're hanging out with friends. Like, that's it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, speaking of friends, maybe I'll even see if any of the Talking with Friends people want to pop into a Zoom call.
Why not?
Let's see.
You guys are doing great stuff over there with Talking with Friends. I keep meaning to tell you that. It's fun. You know what it reminds me of? What's that movie? Stand By Me, where the kids go.
They're kind of telling the old story of like.
Yeah, but it's like a group of friends who grew up together. Mm-hmm. And Richard Dreyfuss is narrating it, and no, but it just reminds me of, like, I always long for like stories like that, you know, when they flash back to a childhood. And you guys know each other for a while, and to hear those stories is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
You.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
It's kind of fascinating to us, you know, when I let them know what our viewership is, and I let them know what our audio downloads, which are way more than the viewership even, which we really appreciate. But I will say, one of the things you're missing by listening just to the audio, so Matt Mangle showed up at my house with like a bunch of tapes for me to upload. Like, he had, like, when we had a show that ran for like a few weeks on Channel 48. We had, like, back in the day.
That's great.
I would have the videos and I would make a copy of them on a VHS for him, and he had them all still. And I've got the little tapes. I got the mini DV that I'm like trying to figure out how to hook it up to upload these. But I've been uploading all this footage. So we've been able to, for the second and third episodes, there's been footage, like in the video, like when we're talking about something, it'll, like, for instance, we talked about, what was it? Mark Mest was kind of the topic of episode 3, called "It Was the Mest of Times." And, you know, the cool thing is we're able to really paint that picture by showing you video footage of Mark Mest at these shows. And that's like, you know, like I referenced at one point, like I got a haircut and kind of got back in shape and whatever. And I was able to show a quick video clip of me from the event that I'm talking about. And I think that it's one thing for us to be able to tell the stories, and it's fascinating that people find it interesting. But I love the fact that we have these little video clips that can go in so that you don't have to use your imagination and picture me at 19 years old. You know, you can, like, there it is. You don't have to picture these random people we're talking about. We talked about one guy who then ended up no-showing one of the shows or whatever, and you don't have to, nobody knows who he is. He was a no-name guy, even more so than I was a no-name guy. And no one knows who he is, but there's the picture of him. So you can, or the video of him, so you can see it. And for me, I'm a visual person, so I like that. I like, you know, to be able to put a face to the name and stuff like that. So, but we're having a blast with it. And I really appreciate the support. And I know the guys do too, because it really came out of the fact that we were getting together on Zoom calls and like reminiscing about stuff, like just to pass the apocalypse, you know?
That's kind of
like,
like how this show started, you know? Start doing stuff like this to, hey, it's the apocalypse. We better get this fucking show underway, you know?
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just cool to get the support on that. But yeah, maybe I'll see if any of them can stop by.
That'd be great.
Hey, Sorensen asked, this is a fun one I want to talk to you about. He asked what we thought of the Jericho and Austin's Broken Skull sessions. Have you had a chance to watch it yet?
I watched it. I really enjoyed it.
I am 3/4 of the way through because I made the mistake of turning it on with my wife there. And she loves Jericho and she, and she watched wrestling back in the day. So anything that's always kind of like, that time period. So now it's kind of been like, I'll be watching a little bit and she'll be like, all right, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Do you mind if we watch this tomorrow? And so it's been like these little intervals and I can't watch it on my own, but
that's cool. Great. That's you guys have something to share and watch. Yeah. Me and Mrs. Meanie watched it together too. And, like I'm like you, I'm like a completist. I have to watch things all the way through. Yeah. Like this morning we were up to 4 a.m. because we decided, hey, let's watch that new art heist documentary on Netflix. Oh wow. And it's a 4-parter, and we watched 2. I was like, did we watch the first 2 and then save the next 2 for today? And then I was like, man, it's only 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's why that's crazy, man. That's why like binging things can be dangerous. Like I remember because back in the day I used to binge. Like I remember I had watched ER when it had first like come out, and then didn't watch it for years and years. And then it was like, I don't know. I guess I saw like a commercial for it. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, but I kind of want to like start from the beginning. So I went back and got all the DVDs. And man, I mean, back then, what did I have to do? I basically would like come home from work. And I would like make myself dinner and just go upstairs to my bed because I was in my own place, you know. I'd go upstairs and I'd sit in my bed because that's where I had the DVD player, and I'd eat my dinner in bed and basically watch ER until, it's time to like go to sleep. And I would like binge through that stuff. And it's if you don't have the thing that says like, oh, the alarm's going off at 8 or 7 or whatever, or even 10 or something. Yeah, it can get dangerous because you just keep going like, I mean, what's another thing? 44 minutes? I can.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part.
Yeah.
44 minutes.
I remember, did you ever watch Lost?
No.
Oh. I mean, don't start now unless you want to lose yourself.
Yeah, I've been ruined.
Oh yeah. Well, still, man, it's so good. I want to go back and watch it. My wife never watched it either, and I want to go back and watch it. But I remember,
I think I saw the Smoke Monster episode, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, I wasn't feeling it like from any commercials I'd seen or whatever. I was like, whatever. And my brother and Calvin, this is way back this is good 10 plus years ago, and they were like, oh man, you gotta check it out. So they're like, but have it at a time when you're going to be able to watch it, because you watch that first episode, you're going to want to watch more. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I put it on like late at night. I watched the first episode, and I ended up staying up till something like 3 a.m. because I was just, that first episode ended. I was like, well, I got to keep going, because Lost would do a thing where it would be like right in the heat of whatever was going on. Yep. And then it would just be like, and show Lost on the screen. And you're like, no, like I need to see what's next. They were so good at cliffhangers. Every episode was a cliffhanger, so it just kind of screws you. But, anyway.
There's a couple shows we've been watching that are kind of like that. I forget there's a show Christina Applegate did.
Her and the other one was on ER, actually.
Okay.
You're talking about the
where like the husband gets killed.
Yes. God, what is that called? I binged through that. My wife and I watched that a year ago. What the hell is that called? Dead to Me. Dead to Me?
Yes.
Is that what it's called? Is that back yet? Did that come back?
I hope so. Because like I said,
looking it up.
Mrs. Meanie started watching. She's like, I got to save this for Brian. And every time you watch an episode, they do something to make you, oh, well, now I got to watch the next one. Mm-hmm. It's like eating fucking Pringles. You got to fucking eat another one, you know? Just
Oh, yeah. If you're somebody who can pop open a can of Pringles and grab a couple, something's wrong with you. A can.
Yeah.
What's the serving size of Pringles? A can.
It should be.
That's the serving size. That's, you know.
There's a reason why I'm fat. And I look at the back of the box and I go, oh, you know, whatever calories. I don't read the thing that says servings per container. Yeah. And then I have to break that down. I have to do fucking division. I divide. Okay, so what's 3 servings? I eat like 5 chips. I you know, it's whatever, stupid math. You know, if somebody's out there fact checking me, I know it. I feel it. But yeah, man, there's.
So it looks like Dead to Me is coming. Dead to Me will be. It has been picked up for a 3rd season, but I don't know when it's coming back.
Oh, not soon enough. That show's great.
And I mean, that was one of our quarantine binges.
Yeah. Well, we fell in love with it like right before, like the 2nd season came out during the outbreak. And
Linda Cardellini.
Yeah, I want to say, I want to say she was on Freaks and Geeks.
Yes,
I might be.
She was.
Yeah, I need to watch
Freaks
that.
And Geeks. And then
I watched the first
ER
episode
for a long time.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember that there was 2 shows called ER. One with Elliot Gould in the 80s, and then they came out with the other one.
And and I think there was like an issue or something with it being called, the second one being called ER, and then they
probably
worked that out.
But
yeah, she played Samantha something or another, but she was
that's a long last name. Jesus.
Yeah, I think it was like Swedish or something.
Yeah,
but Samantha Taggart, and she was on for 6 years. So, yeah.
Speaking of Swedish, I just got my. I just found out I got my ancestry.
Yep.
I am. I am what I thought I was. And they threw in a curveball. I'm like 30-something% Irish. I already knew I was Irish. I don't have the math in front of me. I'm part Norwegian.
Okay.
But then they threw in the curveball of Scottish, and I was like, oh, okay. So explains a lot. Maybe
it explains why you and Drew McIntyre are like the freaking spitting image of each other. You know,
I gave him my ab workout, and it's working out pretty good.
Yeah, you weren't going to use it, so you might as well let someone else.
I got it image to uphold, Josh.
It's true.
So yeah,
that's why I'm not going to go get a tan, because then I'm going to kill this whole vampire thing I apparently have going on. This is like the first show that I took my hoodie off because it's a little hot in here, and I was like, man, my arms are pale, but I actually. What I'm drinking here is the rest of my my BCAAs. I am day 2.
Excuse me?
What's that?
Excuse me?
Yeah, you're welcome. My branched chain amino acids. I am day 2 of being able to use my new home gym.
Baxter, you know I don't speak Spanish.
While our kitchen is still I had a little come to Jesus with our contractor the other day.
This is why I rent. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just felt like, look, there have been all kinds of issues. Things are back ordered. Our oven is like a month away from coming. It's like our dishwasher, same thing. But we have our refrigerator, which then was all like busted up in delivery. So they're actually coming out on Monday. They sent us, we have a refrigerator that technically works, but it's all like busted up. And then we have a bunch of boxes of just
busted open.
Yeah, just new doors. Yeah, my one refrigerator is just like one thing looks like Dave LaGreca, and then the
it's got a LaGreca head on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're this is like little things, but then, we're questioning things along the way. Like, hey, isn't that supposed to be caulked? And isn't that supposed to be, little things like that. I don't know if I told you on air or maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but like there was like the guy built a custom cabinet and it's like warped a little. And he's like, oh, some people like that when it's warped because it shows that it's custom. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not a thing. That's ridiculous. And then, and he really just was pissing me off. He wasn't replying to things. I'm like, hey, can you let me know when people are showing up? They're supposed to be putting a schedule in this thing called Builder Trend. They're supposed to be putting a schedule in. They don't put a schedule in. And then the guy gets hot at me when I texted him. Where he's like, hey, can you,
Is this for like the neighbor? Is that like for the neighborhood so they know when there's going to be construction and stuff like that?
No. Builder Trend's just for us.
Okay.
It's like something
my bad.
that Oh, you're thinking like next door and like things like that.
Hey, there's going to be some construction. If you want to put your baby to sleep, we're doing stuff between this and that hour or something.
Yeah. I mean, we basically, we do everything between like appropriate hours. So it's not like an issue like that. But, no, but then the guy, like, he complained about, like, like, hey, look, I can only do this during, I have to stick strictly to, like, work hours. Then he texted me at 8 o'clock last night. I'm like, where's the work hours?
Yeah.
But, no, so I'm a little frustrated with, like, they grouted the tile on the floor. And there's, like, half the space between the grout and then there's, like, this big lip of the tile. And we have the type of tile, we don't have like the rounded tile. We have like the sharp edge, which is supposed to be grouted flush. And we had to like point this out to him. And he's like, oh yeah, well, we'll fix it. The job's not done yet. I'm like, bullshit, because you said that we could move our table and chairs in if we wanted to. I'm like, it's been frustrating. I'm at the end of it, but finally they finished the gym because that was the thing. The addition had an extra room and a kitchen. The extra room was originally going to be a guest room because now I have 3 kids. I don't have a spare bedroom anymore, and we have family from out of town. And then we said during the pandemic, we said, screw it. We want a gym. So now we have our gym equipment in there.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was day 2 today. So I was working out this morning. I'm still nursing my my BCAAs, which my buddy Andrew Sagan hooked me up with a bunch of supplements. He's what's it called, like Redcon, I think. I've seen a lot of people online.
I thought it was Recon, like a recon mission.
Oh, Redcon 1. That's what it's called. So Redcon 1. I'll have to find out and post something because he's got one of those, one of those things where you can like put his code in, it'll save you a little something, and I think he gets credit for it. But yeah, so I helped him out with it, but so I'm hoping now. I haven't worked out in like a year. So it's you Patreon members have had the privilege of watching me get soft and I
haven't worked out in a life.
Oh, that's not true.
I'm just kidding. But your issues remind me a couple years, like maybe 2 years ago, Donnie and Bev were having they were having their house refaced, a new brick and all this stuff and new steps and all this stuff. And so they tore down the front of the house and they put up the plywood, just for in between stuff. And Bev was sitting at her computer, and she gets up and turns around and notices there's a nail on the wall that wasn't there before. Somebody accidentally shot their nail gun, and
oh jeez,
like a bullet flew into the wall. And she was like, "Excuse me." It's a good thing I wasn't walking through, and and then they apologized for that. They put some spackle over the hole, but then like they had ordered like a certain kind of brick for the front of the house, and the guy's like, "Oh, we had it, and it accidentally got used for another project." And Don's like, "Well, just so you know, I still have other checks I need to give you. Maybe you should find that fucking brick." Yep. Just and I hear all these stories. I'm like, man.
Yeah. We had so our kitchen, one of the walls, the wall that connects to the family room, it's just one wall. It just keeps going because it's like an open floor plan type thing. Well, obviously in the kitchen they had to rip half that wall out and to do some of the plumbing stuff and all different things. No big deal. So they go to paint and they paint only up to the end of the kitchen.
Oh.
Now, granted, it's the same color, but color you can't necessarily always match. A new batch 3 years or 4 years after we painted the other thing. We had said from the very beginning, we're like, well, you guys are going to paint that whole wall, right? They're like, oh, yeah, of course. And they come to us and go, yeah, I mean, we can do it if you want to. Another $150, we'll be able to do it. I said, I'll tell you what. You paint the whole thing, and I am not going to give you $150. And you'll just paint the whole thing. And so I made them repaint it, and they did, and I'm not paying that. And I got to a point where finally I had a conversation with the guy, we have our stovetop, right? And we don't have gas in the house, but depends on what we're cooking. But so it's an electric stovetop. And when they installed the cabinets, there was a drawer right under. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't think this was going to be a real drawer. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's a real drawer. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Now, I don't know what the undercarriage of an electric stovetop looks like. Mm-hmm. So then, of course, they put that in. They go to put the drawer in, and they can't fit it in. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? They're like, yeah, no, we're just going to take the face of it and put it on. And I'm like, I asked you if this was supposed to be a drawer. And the guy's like, well, yeah, I mean, hey, there's nothing you can really do. He's like, I can kind of, cut out a space. I'm like, can you do like a half drawer?
Nothing you could do. You work in construction.
Yeah, you just built us another cabinet, but with
your fucking job.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know. And he bitched and moaned and whined about it the whole time. And he just kept like, oh man, I did all this work to try it. Cause all he did, he cut the back out so it slides in. I'm like, are you able to do that? I'm like, is this like a fire hazard? And he's like, no, it's all surrounded by wood. I'm like, yeah, but there's not wood right directly underneath it. I'm like, do you need a certain amount of space? He's like, no, you'll be fine. So my wife takes out the manual, and it's like, make sure you have a clearance of however much space. We're like, we can't have a drawer in there. He's like, well, I told you I was going to put the thing on from the front in the beginning, but you wanted a drawer. We're like, no. We asked if you could have a drawer because you told us we had one. Where was, we're like, it's your job to tell us. So I'd been really nice about it. And I finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. And I had a conversation with him the other day where I said, listen, he's like, well, what do you want? I said, you know what I want? I want to say to you, the person that I'm employing, I want to say to you, fix that drawer and have you do it. And if you feel that you're putting in so much extra time, then bill me afterwards. Do whatever. But don't whine and complain about it. It's your job. Just do your job. I'm not asking you. I'm not coming in at the 11th hour and saying, hey, I think we want to have 7 more cabinets on that side of the room. Can you do that? It's this drawer. And because his complaint was he didn't want to go back and secure it like he was originally going to because he spent so much time trying to accommodate a drawer. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. And it's anyway, nobody needs to hear this crap. I apologize. Pod Squad.
No,
it's getting hot over here.
That's why I had to take your hoodie off.
Yeah. Yeah,
man. Fucking that's why I'm happy I don't really own. It's just like, oh my God. I mean, yeah, it's good to have security and knowing you own the thing, but there's so much shit that goes with it. It's just like, what the fuck?
It's true. And we decided we didn't have to do an addition. We decided to do it because we really weighed the options, move to another house or, turn this one into more of what we want. And the reality is we have a really nice amount of land and our house was built in the 80s. And back in the 80s, they'd give you a really decent sized lot. If we went and bought the same square footage brand new, we'd have maybe a quarter of the yard that we have now. And we'd pay a good $200,000 more for the right to have, I guess, new drywall. So it's just the more we went back and forth, and we love our neighborhood, and we've got just awesome neighbors, which is, there is no way to plan for that. And, so that's one of those things. You don't pick your house based on your neighbors, but man, if you're lucky enough to have a good set of neighbors, just don't go. Don't go anywhere. Just stay there because I've had bad neighbors in the past.
Yeah, same here, man. I've been in the same spot since 2003. Mm-hmm. And when I first, moved to where I live now, it was a little rough, but then it kind of got better. Mm-hmm. And now I just post about it on online on Twitter the other day. I'm sitting in my living room just having breakfast, and the neighbor across the street who is a professionally trained opera singer.
Yeah.
Is just doing her warm-up exercises, and I'm just hearing this opera next door, which she gets paid decent money to do,
Yep.
And I'm just getting a free concert. I don't know what she's singing, but I mean, it's it sounds amazing.
That's awesome.
Kind of makes me wish I still did the show from the front of the house, in hopes to catch her. We
can open the show one week with the opera singer.
Yeah, I'll slip her 20. Hey, can you sing Mine of DeMeanie? I don't know. But I'm very fortunate to have good neighbors. I have one neighbor who we were really close with, and he was renting, and his landlord sold it, and he had to move out. But I was like, man, hope somebody cool moves in there. And I missed that guy. But because we always were, we're always there for each other. Hey, man. I'm stuck. Can you come get me? My car broke down. Can you come give me a jump?
Well, that was
that kind of
like when we moved into this house, we met all of our neighbors, and we met our next door neighbors, and we're like, hey, and they were super nice people. This older couple, super, super nice. It was actually the weirdest. So the dude he looked like Santa Claus. Legitimately, he looked like Santa Claus. Had the long gray beard, longer hair, in the back. And we first go into the house, and he's sitting out on his driveway, which you could see out of one of the guest rooms, which is now my first son's room. And my wife's up, she's cleaning the windows, and she's like, Santa Claus is outside, not wearing a shirt, and he's sunbathing. And I'm like,
Sweet.
What? And she's like, I don't know how else to describe it, but Santa Claus is sunbathing in his driveway next door. And I go, and I mean, I wish I would have taken a picture. But we met them, and they were awesome. And we're like, hey, we're really glad to have neighbors like you. And they're like, well, we have some bad news. They're like, we're moving in about 2 weeks. And we're like, what? Thankfully, the couple that moved in ended up becoming great friends of ours. Back pre-pandemic, the husband over there is who I would go watch the Eagles games with. And so, I mean, we they have 2 twin boys that are a year older than my daughter, which is going to be a problem one day, I feel like. But for now, it's cool. It worked out. And so that was another reason when we were like, well, maybe we'll move. Maybe we'll go somewhere else. And we're just like, nah, we're lucky. You don't know who you're going to move next to.
That's a great place. Yeah, you live in a great area, man.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Yeah. No, I'm really happy. I always tell people that I grew up about 20, 25 minutes from where I live now. And my wife grew up, she moved here. She originally grew up in Glen Olden, and then she moved here when she was 11. And I always tell people I wanted to live where I grew up. She wanted to live where she grew up. So we compromised and we live where she grew up. Because that's marriage. No, it's a nice place. I'm happy to, be raising a family here and stuff. And, neighbors, man, they can make or break where you live. Like, we've got ones behind us, not bad people, but they're the kind that it's a little warm. Well, great. That means till 2 a.m. we can have a party and, be obnoxious and loud. And,
I got a couple of those. I got one house on my block that's like that.
Yeah,
and
it's annoying. It's
the nicest day. They got their fucking, a karaoke machine blasting fucking oldie tunes, and they freely open up the fire hydrant, and their kids just play in the street, and they put a blow up pool right in the middle of the street. You and your groceries, and coming home from food shopping. You have to now go down the other end of the block and back down the streat. And
at least it's a blow up pool. You could always pop that if you needed to. My neighbors have an in ground.
Oh my God!
What am I supposed to do?
But
obviously I urinate in it, but other than that, what can I?
I don't know if somebody's good. I could do worse. But
is that a candy bar? The bottom of the
yeah, Caddyshack.
Yep.
But So I don't know what's happened because they've kind of mellowed out, thankfully. I don't know if somebody complained or whatever, but good. I got really okay neighbors, but some of them could be a little. They can pester you a little bit. You know?
I feel bad actually because two of their kids just graduated, so they had the shitty senior year of high school. I mean that I feel so bad. I was talking yesterday to a buddy of mine because we're about to celebrate 20th anniversary of my high school graduation, and we did a 10 years. We opened up. We've talked about this before, the time capsule. And so now I think we're just going to do a Zoom call with everybody. But I was talking to my buddy Jack, and we were just saying, like, man, if we had this happen in March of our senior year, like, we wouldn't even be friends because we really became friends like April of our senior year. We legitimately would. Here's 20 years later, one of my best friends, and I probably would not have spoken to him in 20 years had there been the pandemic. And like, we had such amazing like memories from that time in the summer after senior year. And like, and then of course you talk like freshman year of college and stuff. And again, I mean, that's getting into, all the stuff that I'm talking about. I graduated at the end of 2000, or I guess June of 2001. So you're talking about my freshman year of college when all the stuff that we're talking with friends. I mean, a lot of that stuff's in the beginning of 2002. I mean, we would have been in the pandemic. None of these things would have happened. And
it's crazy.
It's a crazy thing to think of what these kids are missing, but
Speaking of, kids in homeschool and stuff like that, I mean, it was cool having Giovanni on last week.
Oh,
he's been talking about, he posts about doing stuff from homeschool and stuff like that. And, it was so cool to have him on last week. Such a great kid, such a great spirit. Yeah. And we said this way he was on, he's very inspirational and stuff like that. So I wanted to bring it up just because we've been getting a lot of good feedback on that, the interview we did with him. Like I said, we rarely do interviews, but it was cool to bring him on and talk to him and share him with the world. I'm familiar with him. You're familiar with him, but there's a lot of people who aren't. And, there's a lot of people who could probably relate to his story of, the struggle. But through the struggle, you find ways to be positive and find things to make you happy. Whether it's, his love for the Philadelphia Eagle or, Philly sports in general. And he started doing podcasting and he started sharing his experience and stuff like that. And I got a lot of people who reached out to me who said, I never knew about him. Thank you for bringing him on and stuff like that. So it was good stuff.
It was just, again, like we were talking off air. It was one of the most enjoyable things for me that we've been able to do on the show. And it's just a good, just a good kid.
Man.
Very happy to have him on. We cut the interview out of the episode and have it on our YouTube now, youtube.com/mindofthemeanie. So you can go just check out the interview if you don't want to sit through the whole episode. It's good. And you need to see it in video form. Catch that green hair,
Yeah, catch that green hair and his infectious smile.
Yes.
Because just such a happy kid who's been, dealt a rough card, but he's making the best of it. You know, I see him talk. And I go, man, what do I have to be angry about?
He has taken a life that did not afford him as many good, positive things that other people's lives have, and he's going to end up, when it's all said and done, with a much better life that changes the world for the better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know if I articulated that well, but my point is that he's just going to, you have a lot of people who are given, they're born, they're healthy, they're given everything, and I don't mean handed things, but I mean, like, they've just been, by, nature has just given them all positive things and they throw it away. And here's a kid who was dealt it's just a horrible hand. It's not fair. It's not right.
Yeah.
And he has taken it to just make the world a better place. And you can't beat that. That's not, I mean, how do you find a better person than that? And you know, we've had a lot of people pushing since we did that interview on social media for him to be considered for a Warrior Award for next year's Hall of Fame. I can't agree with that enough. Like, he absolutely should.
Yeah, man. He's definitely a warrior. I mean, like 18 surgeries by the age of 13, and this stuff they had to operate on. It's just like really touch and go type of stuff, you know. But yet here he is, and he's going to physical therapy right now. He's posting photos and sharing, and he's going to Carson Wentz invited him to his AO1 camp. He's like, his goal is to be able to walk when he gets there. So, he sometimes he needs a wheelchair, sometimes he has a walker that has a seat. But his whole goal is when he goes to Carson Wentz's camp, over the summer, that he's able to walk with the other kids. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, just you see that, and it's like, man, this is stuff. We're living in a time where there's a real life inspirational documentary playing out right in front of us.
Yeah.
And years down the line, when he's an adult, we'll all look back at this. Hopefully he's a coach in the NFL or something like that. But we're living through him and his family are documenting his journey, and it's something to definitely watch and feel inspiration from. Whether if you out there listening in the world are going through some shit, just find your ray of light. What I'm saying, and walk towards it and find your passion.
Yep. I mean, he is I talked about how my gym is up and running now, and I'm dragging myself at 6:15 in the morning, dragging myself out of bed to go get a workout in. Somebody like him, his goal is to be able to walk, at this, what do I have to complain about?
Right.
The little, I'm a little tired. I have little aches and pains. He motivates. He just motivates everybody around him. And it was so cool to have him on the show. It's nice that we don't have that many guests, because the guests that we do have, we really try to make sure that they're going to be something special, whether it's special in the sense that they're one of the most hilarious comedians, or special in the sense that they, inspire people like Giovanni. Yeah. So it's very cool.
Yeah. When we have guests on, we want to make it count.
Yeah.
Because there's so many shows out there that are just strictly guest driven.
Yep.
Like I said, in this pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the 8th time, Al Snow. We can easily do.
Fingers crossed, right? That Al will get Al on here at some point.
Yeah, I know he's been waiting in the green room or the
blue
room.
Hanging in the blue room. Yep.
That's our green room.
It's been hanging there for 56 episodes, but maybe today's the
eventually.
day.
Yeah, hopefully his number will be called.
Yep.
For the show, not in life.
Oh dear God, come on now.
Not to get more.
Oh God, Wrestling Inc.'s gonna run with that.
Oh my God.
Blue Meanie hopes Al Snow's number gets called.
Dude, I've been the topic of that.
You really, every time it just pops up, it's like Blue Meanie, and I'm just like, oh God, please tell me Meanie's okay. Every time I see your name on the thing, I'm like, oh no. But it's you've had a lot of opinions. Even ones you didn't know you had have been kind of
just a random 20, 30 minute interviews become
Blue Meanie hates Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I don't hate the wrestlers. It's just,
why is AEW as terrible as it is? Blue Meanie tells.
Yeah, and then I take the joy of reading the comments, and it's just like, stop.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I started reading the comments, and I had to stop, because they're first of all, if you're listening to this and you think to yourself, you know what I need? An opportunity to slide a little JBL joke in there.
Right.
You're not
Something
the first.
I've never heard. Yeah.
You're not the first.
Yeah.
You're not even the first 100,000. So it's not funny. It's not original. And the thing that, I mean, I only saw like one, but it's just like made like some sort of JBL. And it's like, yeah, the Blue Meanie JBL. Yeah, remember that thing 15 years ago that happened? Like, it's ridiculous.
It's like, man, you know, for a fan base that's, you know, they're called smart marks. You would think they would know. Some fans would know. I'm not going to paint the whole fan base with a broad stroke. I mean, but there's a segment. There's a segment in a segment that think they just bring up stuff that like I don't even think about anymore.
And then they fight each other in the comments. They all fight each other, which is like, even like, I appreciate, I'm reading one thing and some guy made like a comment like, oh, well, if Blue Meanie says it, I guess I'll, you know, listen, haha, like whatever. And then somebody like comes to your defense, which is awesome, where they're like, Blue Meanie knows more about wrestling than you ever will, you know? And like, and I'm like, well, that's really cool. Except now that's launched into an enormous fight. Like, yeah, well, I know so-and-so because my great uncle once sat next to someone on a plane and, you know, and that's how I learned all about heat. And like, it's like, you know, it's insane. And then they end up in this big fight. And then by the end of it, it's like they're wishing like ill on each other's mothers and like, you know, and then somehow their political affiliation has come up and it's like, it's insane. And you're just like, guys,
it really is.
Go do something. Go do something else. I didn't even look at the comments on the most recent one that they posted. I was like,
I you know, it's muting season.
Yeah. That's,
I don't block people. I just fucking mute them.
I can't.
That way they can see me and I can't see them. Haha.
Yep.
But yeah, just it's ridiculous. You know, like in the early stages of social media, or not even social media, like you go on message boards and it's like you go into a topic and it turns into an argument, and 7 hours later you realize, man, I just wasted 7 hours and I'm in a horrible mood right now.
From someone you'll never cross paths with.
Yeah, and then like you're out on the street and somebody says something to you not meaning to say it, and you're just so agitated that you accidentally take it out,
you know, and that's
you accidentally take it out on somebody who probably didn't even deserve it, just because you know somebody else put you in a foul mood. So
no, I
love it.
I never did the like chat rooms and stuff like that back in the day. Like I didn't even join Twitter until I want to say like 2011. Because my sister and my buddy Dave were just like, they're like, you're not on Twitter? And I'm like, I don't know what the hell a Twitter is. And they're like, oh, dude, you got to be on Twitter. And I was like, well, I guess I got to be.
I just got reminded that was my anniversary. They sent me a graphic to post. And
that's really cool that they you know, social media, when they'll remind you of when life really started to suck. You know, you've been on Facebook for what? I was like, well,
dude, I remember fucking MySpace. Jesus.
I
remember I made the big I made the big leap from MySpace to Facebook. I was like, oh, this is a whole new world. What am I doing over here?
It was all like MySpace was all the rage back in like when I was down in OVW. So like all my MySpace friends were all like these like all like wrestlers, and Facebook was like my like private just family thing, you know, which it still is. Some wrestlers, you know, I'm obviously friends with, but I still, then that's the other, like Facebook, like any of the social media stuff. I honestly don't like it. And we've talked about this on the show before. Like if I could, I would shut down all of my social media, but I can't. The reason I can't is because somebody at my level in my career needs social media. It's how people hear about me. It's how they know about me. And Facebook, we have all the Facebook groups and all, like, you know, there are certain things that I need to have an account, a personal account, in order to open up show accounts and things like that.
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. So I try to keep it as private as I can, and my family's super private, so they don't like, like my wife does not like, any interaction with it. Like she's, to put in perspective, we have 3 kids. Her profile picture is still from our honeymoon. She does not like update like anything on there. So, social
Sometimes
media
I
just,
overshare, so it's like,
I'm sure I did. I mean, I'll sometimes see like in a memory thing, like something I posted, and I'll like cringe and be like, ugh, like, why did I post that? That's terrible.
Same here. I end up deleting it. So I don't want to see that again.
Yeah. And then also,
back when I thought,
what's that?
Back when I thought I was like a stand-up comedian, I'll say something funny, and I read it now. I'm just, ooh, that was bad.
Yeah. Humor was very different like 10 years ago. What was funny is not funny today a lot of the times. But I don't even have, and thankfully, I don't have my original Facebook, because when Facebook first started, you had to have a school ID, like a school email to sign up for Facebook, a college email. And I went to community college, Montgomery County Community College, which is kind of the little inside baseball. That's why they gave me so many things, like a studio to use. They're like, oh, you used to go here. Why not? This is a great, they actually did a write-up on me for like the school newspaper of like, I guess, Monco kid done good. But when I graduated from, I got my associates at community college, I went to Temple. And when I started at Temple, I couldn't, back then, like I couldn't update and just be like, I now go to Temple. It's like, nope, I had to shut down my Monco Facebook account and start a brand new one with my Temple email. And it was because they were going to deactivate my Monco email. And it was like, so and that was only, I think, like a year's worth of Facebook stuff, but now, so my stuff goes back a little ways, but then again, you go through like relationships and breakups, and you're just like, I don't need all these photos with it, and you get rid of those, and I guess, and then years later, you become friends with your ex on Facebook again, and you all just look at each other's pictures of their kids, and and everyone's happy, but it's a weird world we're living in.
Where everything's out there.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yep. But you know what else is out there? Mind of the Meanie merchandise.
Woohoo!
That's right. At ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie, you can get some incredible shirts like the one I'm wearing right here. Mind of the Meanie. We like to call it the Mind of the Meanie badge logo. It's in the style of the old ECW logo, rounded logo created by the one and only, the great, the powerful Andy Slichter. But this isn't the only one we have. So why don't we check out a little commercial that tells us about all of the wonderful shirts we have at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Get your Mind of the Meanie shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. We have the Mind of the Meanie logo tee, the Mind of the Meanie badge, Meanie Toons, Meanie Burger, 3 seltzers deep, Meanie Gas, Wreck Every Bathroom and Leave, Meanie Screwing Up the YMCA, Alternative Commentary, Podcast Faces, and so much more. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. And we're back.
And we're back.
All right, Meanie wants to crack open his ugly, as the
Meanie
kids say.
want a drinky.
Yeah. I've got it's my black cherry coffee one, because while I have been in touch with ugly, I don't have any more ugly. They're supposed to be sending me some, so we gotta get that going because I want to drink it.
Begging them.
And I'm too cheap to go buy my own. But this is good
the life
too,
of a
because
wrestler.
I did take people can't tell, all I wear like in real life now is Mind of the Meanie or So Says Shernoff merchandise.
Yeah.
Available at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie or ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff. Or if you're into BWO, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. But yeah, so I'll crack this open. What do you have though, Meanie?
I got me an ugly.
Yeah.
Lemon lime.
Ooh, uglies never look so pretty.
Dude, man, I love this logo. Let's. I'm going to Sandman it. 3, 2, 1. I did not cheat. And as always, I have to smell my ugly because it smells great.
Man, that could mean so many things.
Or maybe I'm partial to the blue and white. You know, it's blue.
It's fair. No, it is a good looking can.
It's for a company that's called Ugly. It's a damn handsome can.
No, their cans are incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a can man.
I'm a can man.
Slichter.
I'm a can man.
Dude.
I was looking for a burnt type thing.
Well, it's close enough. But hey, since you're doing it, breaking news. I just got word this morning that a shipment has arrived on the shores of New York City.
New York City.
The Mind of the Meanie action figures have just arrived in the States, and there is an ETA of them being in our hands by Friday. So if you're listening to this, by this coming Friday, that is the ETA. Now, if anyone is familiar with how the mail has gone lately, you shouldn't be surprised that they made it from Hong Kong to New York in about 12 hours from when they were first dropped off to arriving, and it should be about a week until it makes it another 2-hour drive. So
the mail has been so fucking horrible, we'll get back to the figures, but Mrs. Meanie ordered like a ukulele from an hour and a half drive from here, you know, and she wanted this uke, and it took a month to make an hour and a half drive. It's insane.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to, I guess,
Position.
Yeah, I'll shake my figure while I'm talking, and then when you talk, then we'll shake yours.
So yeah, she ordered a ukulele, and it sat in limbo at this one processing station 20 minutes from my house. And then she actually had to get on the phone and go, hey, it keeps saying that it's leaving there, and then it's back there, and then it's leaving there, and then it's back there. Can I come just pick it up, please? No, we can't go there and pick it up. And then miraculously it showed up at the P.O. box. So,
man, so how long was it?
A month. It took a fucking month for a ukulele to be shipped on a trip that we could have drove to the fucking store and just grabbed it ourselves.
Unbelievable.
Insane.
But
and she reopened up her Etsy store, which she's probably going to shut down again just for the fact that people bought stuff. She mailed the stuff, and she's looking at the tracking, and it's like, oh my God.
No, it's annoying. It reflects poorly on her, and it shouldn't.
On a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are suffering, who rely on.
And honestly,
mail.
that's something that we're going to. We've already looked into. Be it a UPS or a FedEx or something like that, but I gotta tell you, the post office is not our top priority when it comes to shipping out the figures that we're personally shipping. I would rather it cost a tiny bit more to use one of these other places and know that when we ship it,
There's
who purchase these figures are going to get them, you know?
Yeah. There's peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, peace of mind in a meanie. Woo-hoo.
Yep. And, it's unbelievable. But back to the positives of it, these figures, man, I mean, in less than a week, I should be holding the real ones in my hands. And maybe at that point we'll get together and you'll actually get to hold, because they want these sent back, and I'm going to have to send them back once we have the actual figures in hand.
Yeah. Well, the good news is I got my other breaking news. I got my first vaccination shot.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I got my second.
I'm halfway there.
Yep.
Like Bon Jovi sang. I'm just living on a prayer.
Yeah.
But no, dude, yeah, I got PA opened up to all age groups, and I got an email because, dude, I tried to register like 3 or 4 different spots, and somebody finally got back to me, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can register now." So I registered. I got like an email within like 5 minutes. I was like, "What?" They're like, "Okay, we got an appointment. You can pick something for tomorrow." Well, what? So I got on board. I got that done.
That's awesome.
And here's the crazy thing. I went down there. It took me longer to fucking drive there and park than the actual whole process.
So it's funny you say that, because when I went my first time, I had the pleasure of having mine done at the Neshaminy Mall inside an abandoned H&M.
That's crazy.
Where dreams come true.
Yes.
To me, I would have always thought that if I was going to get a needle at the mall, it would have been a different mall and probably outside. But like walking to my car, the old second floor of the Willow Grove Mall that was like the bus area. Anyway.
Yeah.
But what's that?
JTP.
Huh?
JTP.
Yeah. No, so I went, and it was a super long line, and I felt like I was standing in the midst of like a super spreader event, because we're all in line. It's just so many people there. And I went in. I had to then sit.
It's like a
the
Pink
DMV.
Floyd video.
Yeah. I had to wait like it was the DMV. They brought me in. They finally gave me the shot. Then I had to wait 15 minutes. Then I had to go schedule the next one. This whole took super long. Went back for my second shot. No line. Walked right in. Checked in at the thing. Sent me right over to the people. Didn't even sit down. Sent me right over to the people who were going to deliver the shot. They gave me the shot. I went, sat for 10 minutes. Not 15. They just wanted 10 minutes. And then went and had them and just showed them my stuff. And I'm like, I'm good. And they're like, all right, awesome. That was it.
Dude, it was so crazy. I parked. I drove there. I found parking on the street, which was in Center City, which is nice.
Right.
I put money in whatever, and you put the ticket in the window to show you paid the park. It cost me like $250. No biggie.
Yeah.
Where most lots are like $25.
Yeah, $275 you can go fuck yourself, but $250. No, we'll park there. It's no problem.
Yeah. And dude, I walk in, and I felt like I was in one of those movies where I was the last person on earth. Like I meet the FEMA people at the beginning of the line. Mm-hmm. They ask me the random questions. Have you been in contact with anybody? Blah, blah, blah. Are you allergic to shot? They ask me the basic questions already answered. And I walk in, and it's just me. I mean, there's people around who are working, but I walk through. Okay, go around, follow the arrows. They tell me I follow the arrows. I walk around. I stand there for 30 seconds, and guy checks my ID and all that stuff. Guy waves me over. I sit down, pop up my arm, and I think I got spotted by somebody because
you definitely
I was like,
did.
So I was wearing the Blue Meanie fight shirt, and somebody, wow, nice shirt. And later on, the same guy tweeted me. He's like, oh, I wanted to get a photo. I was like, why didn't you? I was like,
Hey, I'll tell you, it's probably not the best way to go incognito by wearing your own merchandise when you're already an incredibly recognizable person.
It's like, I'm wearing a mask. Nobody sees my face.
Yeah, that's true.
Or my lipless face.
And you colored your blue hair gray, so nobody can, no one can tell.
Yeah, I went the extra mile.
That's what I told my kids when they asked about your hair. I told you that, right?
Yeah.
They asked about your hair when they met you, and it's like, I thought his hair was blue. I was like, well, he can't just walk around with blue hair everywhere. So when he goes out in public, he covers it up.
Yeah. And they'll come to hate you later for that lie.
Yeah. So many other lies, though.
My friend Sebastian lives out in like a little farther west, like an hour west of here, and there's like a power plant near him, kind of like The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
And the smoke's coming out of it. His daughter goes, Daddy, what's that? He goes, oh, that's a cloud factory. So she goes to school, And she's like, "Oh, we live near the Cloud Factory." Everybody's looking at her like, "What? Excuse me?" And she was so mad at her dad for saying that was the Cloud Factory.
Sebastian's a good dude. He sent me a message the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very complimentary stuff about what we're doing, and just
he's a good dude.
Such a good guy, and I really appreciated his message. It's nice when someone sends you a thing, that they're just they're enjoying stuff, and
he reached out to me about the Giovanni interview. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, real good guy. It's fine.
Yeah, he reached out to me about the Giovanni interview too. So
yeah,
one of those guys you definitely want on your team. Yeah, yeah, and. If you knew him back in '96, you're like, man, what happened? They're like two totally different people. Not that he was a bad guy, but
no, it was great. I first met him.
He's got stories.
When Joel came to do So Says Shernoff in studio, and Sebastian kind of like met up with him there, and it was cool.
Those two are tight.
I would say
no, they're tight.
Yeah, I would say So Says Shernoff produced. That's how I got to, first time I got to work with Joel. It was the first time I met Sebastian, and it is how Andy Slichter came into my life.
Nice.
And so I will say the money that was spent on the Facebook ad looking for people to come to the live studio audience, which is how Andy Slichter found the show.
Nice.
That has paid itself in dividends with everything that Slichter's done. But most importantly, his friendship.
Yes.
But
very cool.
But back to the figures, I just want to say, as soon as we get them, if you ordered them unsigned, they're pretty much going to be going out. I'd say probably next weekend. Going to be a lot of sitting around filling out addresses and stuff. And if you got them signed, then
we'll get together and sign.
We're going to we'll get together pretty as quickly as we can. We'll figure it out. We'll get together and we'll sign them, and we'll probably even do some sort of blogging or vlogging of us signing them or whatever. And, maybe some outside socially distanced picnic bench type signing or something.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll do something. And we'll sign those and we'll get them sent out to you. And those are, of course, the ones that we're handling are available at mindofthemeanie.com, or you can go to mindofthemeanie.bigcartel.com. But the link's right there, mindofthemeanie.com. And you can pick them up. We had a, thanks to Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. They put it over on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, social media, and it blew up. We had the most sales in a single day. Actually, I think our sales in a single day beat all of the sales we'd had from our site to date. Because remember, our site came in a little bit later. For us to offer it. And of course, outside the US, go to Chella Toys. You can still go to JB Toys somewhere on Instagram. I don't really know. So just go to mindofthemeanie.com and get it from us. But I promise you, JB Toys, it's all good. You will absolutely get your figures. But no, we're excited about it. But it blew up. But what I will say is, order them now, because it's not a sales tactic. They're legitimately disappearing. So order them now. And
because I definitely want to, I got family I got to give Christmas presents to. So
I kind of like marked off, for myself of like how many I'm claiming for myself, my family. And so I mean, it adds up quickly, the amount that you plan to give to people, or people who, like I've got, family or friends who are just like, hey, can you hold one for me? And we'll buy it once, they're in. Like, so it's, those are set aside, obviously. So, just buy them now. They look so cool. Looking at them on the card is awesome, on the card backing. I'm so excited.
You sent me that photo. I was like, oh my God, that's so nice. That's so cool.
The best part was, we were like, should we share it with anyone? And we're like, should we share it with Patreon maybe? And like share that. And we're like, you know what? Let's just wait. I want to wait until we get them in hand and we get like a really good picture and all that. And like 5 hours later, Chella Toys tweets out that exact picture that they sent me. And they tweeted out and they're like, it'll be available in the next 3 weeks. And we're like, okay, I guess we can share this picture now. So yeah, we're excited
So
about
cool.
it. We're definitely excited. This is a bucket list. This is the bucket list moment for me. I don't know that I really don't like genuinely, if you factor in all the things in my life and like dreams as a kid, you know, and you weigh all of them together, I feel like this has got to be the top bucket list moment for me.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it. And
Well, same here, man. It's 2021. I've had one figure, and you know, since I started my career in '94, one figure.
Yep.
Now that I get to do this, it's amazing. And to see it on the two figures on the card took me back to like when I used to go action figure shopping as a kid, and like the AWA figures always came two on a card, and you could buy a tag team and stuff like that. And
I'll tell you,
it's just like, man, you know, young Brian looking into the future and seeing this.
It definitely gave me a
that'd
bit of
be
like
awesome.
you know, like my dad used to always take me to get figures, and of course my mom as well. And I even told my mom, I said, when they're coming in, she's coming to visit for the first time. I haven't seen her in, you know, a year and a half. She's coming in June. Everyone's vaccinated, and she's coming to meet my son and, you know, see the kids and everything. I told her, I said, I'm not sending you the figure. I want to actually be there in person and give the figure to you. But
That's so cool.
It's, you know, it's one of those things also I look at, like, you know, my dad would think it's really cool. My grandmother, who, you know, she passed away this past June, and she used to always tell the story of like, she'd go for whether it was a birthday or holiday or whatever it was, and she would go with a list of like the action figures, like the old Hasbro figures that I wanted. And she didn't know who any of these people were. She didn't know what they looked like. She didn't know what, you know. And she would always go, and she'd go, I'd have to find someone and like pull someone aside, and they'd have to come with me and show me, like, and I'd say, do you know who this person is? And they would like look through all the shelves and see if they could find like the figure. And obviously, you know, she passed away before we made a deal with Chella Toys and everything. But it definitely, when I saw it on the card, it's one of those ones I really would have wanted. You know, I look at like my dad and my grandmother, like they're people who I think would have really gotten a kick out of that. And I'm glad, you know, I'm excited to show my mom and my grandfather. He wants one. He's about to turn 94 years old. But I mean, the other cool thing to give to him, I remember he was the one who actually got me the tag team sets, the first Hasbro tag team sets.
So cool.
I remember it like it was yesterday, getting the Rockers and the Bushwhackers. And so to be able to kind of have that, and you know, and he's like, I'm going to get I want to get 10 of them or whatever. I was like, I'm just going to give you one. I'm like, cause we still want to sell them. He's like, I'll buy them. I'm like, I'm going to get you one. You'll be fine with just one pack. But, he's excited about it too. And it's a cool, you know, it's one of those things where like we have in our own careers, be it in ring or be it, you know, whatever it is we're doing in the business, we have our milestones, right? Of like what we consider success, be it a level of exposure or a level of, you know, or an amount of money or whatever it is. But there are these things that people outside of the business consider a success, like action figures and video games and things like that, that are the type of things that you can't just, that doesn't happen in other industries, you know? So to be able to, especially someone like me, who shouldn't be a figure and shouldn't be in a video game, you know, it's really been cool to kind of just show people like, hey, you know, that like weird stuff that I work on all the time that you're not entirely sure what it is that I do. Well, here, be even more confused because now I have a figure. But yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. It's something tangible. It's something you can hold in your hand
Yep.
and go, here it is, you know?
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Jack Gray says, did you hear Mattel brought back the WWE Retro line? Yeah. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
They've got Mean Gene, who looks suspiciously familiar. I think it's great. I love it. I love the retro line. I love the fact that they're I want it to not be retro of current guys for a while. I want even more of fill in all the blanks of what we didn't get. Go deeper back into the 80s of like the guys that were like LJN and, you know, but never had the Hasbro figures, and give more stuff like that. Chella Toys doing an amazing job. They just announced the final one of Series 1, Bull Nakano. So
amazing.
When we looked at the stats that Chella Toys, they have not only the first retro representation of certain characters like a Dynamite Kid, you know, or Hayabusa, or like, you know, it's in, you know, all of them, but they have the first ever, which it sounds, you know, hashtag humble brag, but I'm actually really, really humbled by it. The first ever non-wrestling personality of to be in a retro line, Hasbro or just Hasbro inspired, is my figure. And for that to be in there is just incredible. And now they also have in their first one, the first ever female to be depicted in a retro line, which it always blew my mind that WWE didn't do that in like the 6 series of the retros before.
Yeah.
But they have Bull Nakano, who looks amazing. And then Meanie and I, somebody posted something that we are the first 2-pack in over 29 years to be released in retro form. And and I was just like, to be a part of a series that has all that, to be able to be a part of 2 of those things that stand out, like it's really cool. And I keep looking, I mean, it's such a fun thing to look at their picture of it, you know, Bull Nakano, Blue Meanie, Nick Aldis, and then it's like, I'm looking at all these people, Hayabusa, Ethan Page, even, you know, and me. And I'm like, how, you know, who did I pay off to get this? But just really excited about it. And then Zombie Sailor Toys doing amazing stuff. I saw the prototype of their Sabu figure. They just announced that Swoggle is going to get one, which I think is so cool. And I know for him and his son collect figures all the time. Like, I think that's awesome. And for him to be like the way he looks now, where he's made a name for himself out on the indies, you know, and not just being like the leprechaun, you know, but him just being Swoggle the way he is. And it's just really cool. They've got the first ever Dino Bravo. And it's just, it's so
cool, man.
Yeah. To me, like, people have been like, does it bother you that, you know, Mattel brought back the retro line? I'm like, absolutely not. You know, it's not like they bring back the retro line and therefore my figure doesn't come out. You know, like, to me, I'm super excited about it. I would be happy if there was a Blue Meanie figure from Chella, from WWE, from Zombie Sailor, you know, like, I want everybody, the more people doing this, the better. Yeah. They're fun figures. It's fun for collectors. It's fun for fans. And the more, the biggest winner is the fans. Yeah. You know, and there's like no competition. Like, everybody benefits, right? Mm-hmm. You know, Chella, Zombie Sailor. Yeah. It's all good, man. Yeah. It's all good. You know? There's no, and that's like, honestly, there is no competition with it. There's some people are signed with one, some people are signed with another, and it is what it is. And then the fans get to mix them all, which is great. That's the coolest thing too, because they're all retro, means they're all in scale to each other. And they're all, like, for me, like, to see Mean Gene, the thought of being able to have a little Mean Gene standing next to me as, like, I mean, you know, the one of the greatest to ever hold the stick, you know, for wrestlers, like, I you know, and Mean Gene, it's, no, I'm kidding. But no, me, you know, all kidding aside, Mean Gene Okerlund you can't do what I do and not be inspired by Mean Gene in some way.
Oh my God, yeah.
His quick wit, his demeanor, his way of doing it. And of course, I'm not Mean Gene, and it would be ridiculous if I ever tried to be. But he's an inspiration, you know? I think it's awesome. A little long-winded.
No, like I said, hopefully that opens up a lot. I would love to get a Gorilla Monsoon retro. You know, please, if anybody's listening, I want a Gorilla Monsoon. So I love Gorilla. Yeah. And me and Miss Me were, leading up to WrestleMania this year. We go back and watch some old WrestleManias, and we watched 17, which was the homecoming of Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan, which was pretty cool. You know,
Bobby Heenan turns him and goes, Tony. Obviously joking. It was great. Yeah. Vanessa says Bill Apter needs a figure.
He does.
He does. Honestly, I think, and he'll never, much like me, and he obviously deserves it more. But much like me, he's not getting one in the WWE retro line. It's just not how they do it and what it is. But Chella Toys, what?
Yeah, but Chella
Toys, or even Zombie Cell or something. That's where they're focused.
Little camera or a little mic.
Yeah. The only question is, I don't know how thin they can make plastic for the comb-over, because it needs to be textured, but I don't want it so thin that it just snaps right off. But
he's got the little Mr. Softy fucking swirl with that one hair.
I can tell you though, if they make a Bill Apter action figure,
oh my God,
hands down, day one, that is being purchased by yours truly.
And me.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what?
We got to make that happen.
I think I'm going to call Bill when we get off of this, and I'm just going to ask him if he'd be interested in.
Dude, you read that? Who said that? Vanessa?
Vanessa, yeah.
You read her thing, and I got goosebumps.
Yeah. I'm going to see if Bill wants to maybe chat with Chella and Zombie Sailor. Whatever, man. Go get the best deal, Bill. You know what I mean? I'll introduce you to both, and then just go.
If they would allow him to have like a Bill Apter action figure with the old red shirt with the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, if they could work out a deal with Pro Wrestling Illustrated, would let him wear that.
Well, and that's a great question. What era Bill Apter?
I want the fucking ringside Bill Apter with the red PWI.
You want like 70s era, like no glasses?
Oh, he wore that in the 80s. No, he wore that in the 80s too.
Okay. But you're saying 70s and 80s no glasses Bill down at the at ringside.
But I've seen him in both. So it's...
See, to me, and it's all about who you're, what you're exposed to at what point in time. To me...
But that's where the repaints come in.
That's true. But and the nice thing is the comb-over, I mean, here's the thing, though. You can't do a repaint. You need a new head mold if you're doing current day Bill Apter. Because it's just one string at this point.
It comes with a little karaoke machine.
But yes, I would love it if he came with the cow belt. And if they don't want to go through all like the tooling of his actual cow belt, it needs to be the original cardboard one that he used to have. That was back in the day.
Fans are always looking for accessories. So
yeah. No,
the more Bill accessories, the better.
Bill needs one. First of all, listen, he's the George Napolitano of wrestling photographers. So without question. But no, Bill Apter needs one. I mean, think about it. You have Bill Apter, so he can be presenting. You can have him come with a little plaque. Maybe it's that one where he's presenting. It doesn't have to say PWI on it,
Exactly.
But he's presenting the PWI awards to all these retros. Because that's a lot of people forget.
It would look really
TV
good
all the time.
It would look really good in Apter's Alley.
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta make this happen.
I'm no joke. I'm calling him when we get off. When we stop recording this, because I want to make sure he's okay with it. I don't know why he wouldn't be, but I made him a figure back in the day.
He's very humble.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. When I was a kid, I made him an action figure of him, and he still has it. So,
let's get a real one. Let's get an official one.
I think it's time. I would love to see that happen for him. That would sell out instantly. I have no doubt in my mind that would sell out instantly.
I know people in every company that would buy one.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I would love to know. And you know what? If we can set up this deal between him and Chella, and which I'm sure Chella Toys would be like, yeah, let's let's do it. If we could sell this up, if we could set this up, what I would want to see Chella do is a poll on social media of which era Bill Apter, with a bunch of pictures. Are we talking Apter's Alley Bill Apter, which is current era?
Yeah.
Are we talking 90s Bill Apter, which is like kind of like those, he had the rounder glasses, still had dark hair, but comb over in full effect? Are we talking, which era of Bill Apter are we talking? And it's funny for me, I kind of want, and we got to have that repaint, because to me, I want the one that I grew up with, the Bill Apter whose couch I sat on to watch WrestleMania 12 on pay-per-view. And I want that. I
want the one who bought me ice cream.
Yeah. I want the Bill Apter I want the one I did the podcast with. I want, it's
complete with pretzel pieces.
He's got to come with little bits of pretzels, an ice cream cone.
Get a Bill Apter action figure that has the little string. You pull it and goes, and I'll see you at the matches.
Well, he's got to have the point.
Yeah.
He's got to have the finger point. All right. I mean, look, I'm not saying that Chella owes us money for this idea, that we deserve a cut, but I will say that I do want to put it on my resume as kind of like creative for the Bill Apter action figure, because I'm pretty sure we just booked the territory here.
And I will gladly buy it.
In a heartbeat. No, they don't have to.
Day one.
Yeah. I mean, look, first of all, the least
I'll buy two. I'll buy two. One to keep in the box, one to let breathe.
Oh, I need it. I need mint on card, and I need Bill to sign it.
Yeah.
And I need to then hang it on my wall right here. I'm not, this is not, if people are watching right now or listening to a legitimate conversation that Meanie and I are having here, this is not like, I kind of forgot we're even doing the show. Meanie and I are getting super excited about this Bill Apter action figure, and I want it.
We're two grown-ass men being two big-ass marks right now. That's awesome.
I mean, and then the idea of being able to have a figure of mine standing next to the guy who is hands down responsible for why I'm even here.
He's the reason why I fell in love with wrestling. He was my internet before the internet.
Yeah.
All these people have they get their news from certain websites now. I would make the pilgrimage once a month to my local magazine establishment.
Yep.
And buy these magazines. And he was, there's plenty of great people who worked for the magazines, but he was out at the shows. You see him at ringside. He was the representative.
James Sorensen's asking, can we get more Mind of the Meanie action figures? It probably would have been a good thing for us to try and negotiate a deal for this to be under the Mind of the Meanie banner, but no, he's beyond that. Yeah, I'd say stay tuned for more Mind of the Meanie action figures. I don't know. We definitely have some stuff in the works. I don't know if it'll be action figures or whatever, but we're working. I will say this: we have a great relationship with Chella Toys. And there have been talks of more things, Mind of the Meanie or not. We're constantly talking to them.
That company's growing, and there's going to be a lot of good things coming from Chella Toys.
Yep.
It seems to be about that time.
Yeah.
It's time to ask me anything. Ask me something.
All right, we've got some great Ask Meanie Anything questions. We actually have a ton of them that came through.
Good.
So I need to try and thumb through these and see.
Use some, save some.
Yep. Well, we're going to start with the people who actually use the hashtag Ask Meanie. How about that?
Sure.
Michael McClanahan writes, do you think a character / gimmick like the Blue Meanie would work in the current wrestling landscape? Also, what wrestlers / performers today do you think embody the traits and characteristics of the Blue Meanie? Thanks for all the great content. Hashtag Ask Meanie.
Man, I'm sure, I'm sure you could, especially when you got companies to, WWE, maybe not so much because I'm a little on the portly side, but
they've got they've got some large guys there. Otis isn't exactly the smallest.
Yeah, But as anybody who embodies the Blue Meanie, dude, I love Grado.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the whole dance to coming out to Madonna's song, which, me and Stevie and Nova used to come out to fun different songs. We, one show we would come out to, Girls Just Want to Have Fun and reenact the scene where I'd be Captain Lou and, somebody would throw me in a hammerlock like they were Cyndi Lauper and stuff like that. So, yeah, somebody out there today that, I think embodies it, definitely Grado. I love Grado.
Mark and Dryden writes, he gave us a list here of the most recent WWE releases. He said, how about thoughts from you two about any of them, interactions and where they may end up? Thanks. I mean, just kind of quickly go down the list. It looks like we've Samoa Joe. That was a huge shock to me. That seemed like
it was, but it wasn't. Because, I mean,
he just called WrestleMania. Like,
yeah, but like, the fact that, I wish they would have kept him as an announcer, but he's an announcer. I don't know why. He's a great announcer too.
Yeah.
But, once you're in that role, you pretty much, I don't know if he's going to go wrestle somewhere else or maybe go be an announcer. I don't know what his health status is.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, he seems to me.
I don't want to. I don't want to speculate. Look, I said on Twitter, I want him to go to AEW. I love AEW, but they're casting it. I just don't get it. I would love to see Miro, Jake Hagar, and Samoa Joe with Team Taz.
Yeah, I agree.
Be like
wholeheartedly. I agree.
Like they could be a new varsity club, like back in the day, and you could have the Shooter Club versus the Bullet Club. You know,
I
don't
have to twist my arm on this. I agree.
Some
completely.
factions, factions I don't get. Like when I think of factions, I think factions as a tag team. Beautiful Bobby and Stan Lane look like they were Hawk and Rower Animal. They look like they belong together.
I mean, look, tag teams versus factions, though. In fairness,
but a faction is an impregnated tag team. It just with more,
Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, that shocked me. Like, I get if you looked at them of what they've been doing recently, you'd say, they're not really being used. Well, nobody told you to break up the Iconics. They're awesome. I could have seen them been sent back down to NXT as the Iconics and revitalize, not revitalize, but help the women's tag teams.
That's what NXT's there for,
Yeah.
Like JR says, go over there, put on a fresh coat of paint.
Yep.
Come on back.
Hold. Yeah.
Or just whatever.
I don't get that. Those two, I think they're incredibly talented, and wherever they end up, I want to see them together. To be honest, I think they both have the talent to be singles as well, but I want to see them. I mean, obviously, Peyton Royce's husband works for AEW. She's married to Sean Spears. And
okay, I wasn't aware.
And so it's not like. But it's not like they need that connection. I mean, they're top of their game, and they should be brought in. They're incredibly entertaining. I would love to see them together somewhere. Mickie James gonna be she's an asset wherever she goes.
Absolutely, legend.
I feel like she could go anywhere. Really, if she wants to keep wrestling, she can go anywhere. Any place would be lucky to have her as an agent.
Yeah.
What'd you say? She was
coach, producer.
Yep.
Get in the ring and coach the younger talent and get them TV ready.
Obviously, her husband is Nick Aldis, so your mind will first go to NWA, but at the same time, it doesn't mean, they don't have to go where their spouse is. I can see an appeal to that for them personally, but I could see someone like a Mickie James going in as a coach for AEW to work with the women.
Yeah,
could be huge for their women's division.
Yeah, that to me again. I know seems like I'm picking on Impact, but hey, Impact's got a dominant women's division, That's something AEW could use a little help with, is strengthen that women's division in AEW.
And speaking of Impact's women's division, Chelsea Green.
They had the best.
Chelsea Green released. She has upside potential. It's incredible. She suffered a bunch of different injuries that just kind of screwed her over. But again, her fiance being Matt Cardona, her being a very well-known member of that little family of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast community. But Matt and Brian both being with Impact, and her being a former Knockouts champion, and her biggest success being there in Impact, I could see that. I also could see her being anywhere else, because she's going to be, her going to AEW, she would fit into that women's division perfectly.
For as much as it sucks to see folks get released, there's another whole bunch of promotions who are going to benefit from this, and the wrestlers themselves are going to benefit from this.
And when I talk about people's spouses being there or something, and if I might be wrong here, but I'm almost positive that her and Matt Cardona met through Cody and Brandy. And so I'm not suggesting, she could go to Impact because she's going to be married to a guy that works there, or she could go to AEW because she's friends with Cody and Brandy. What I'm saying is she has a relationship. There's also
that intermingling between the two promotions,
Yeah, but then I also look at it, it's not saying, she could get a job because she's friends with them. It's like, no, because she's friends with them, she's on their radar. They know how beneficial she can be to their company. So I see that for her. One of the ones I'm curious about is Tucker. From Otis and Tucker, shouldn't have split them up, especially because you have Tucker back in a tag team. Or I'm sorry, you have Otis back in a tag team.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense. Jack Gray saying Green used to tag with Britt Baker on the Indies as Fire and Nice.
That's
which
cool.
Is awesome. So there again, it's I remember she was, Chelsea was part of the of All In. The precursor to AEW.
Which essentially was a Ring of Honor show, but on the down low.
Well, yeah. I remember. So Ring of Honor, pretty much, they were the production end.
Right. Yeah. It was Matt. It was the Bucks and Cody, but they hired.
But Ring of Honor was that. Yeah.
Yeah, they still fit the bill. I'm not saying that Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this was a sham.
Yeah.
No, it was Cody and the Bucks putting up their own money, but they had a working relationship with Ring of Honor, so why not work with the people you're familiar with?
Yeah.
Nothing
wrong with that. But no, Tucker's the one that I would have to say I'm most curious of where he's going to end up.
I've been thinking about this, and I would love to see Ring of Honor get an influx of talent, because they seem like the most ignored wrestling promotion that's out there, and they have some of the best talent there.
There's also MLW.
Yeah. Look, we're on the MLW network. I love MLW. But I would love to see, MLW Ring of Honor. Let's see them get some influx of,
love
these
to see
names,
like a Kalisto, who was also released, show up there, one of those places.
Absolutely. I think Kalisto would, the matches he could have there with, Leo Rush and stuff like that. And there's so much fantasy booking out there that you could do.
It looks like also Wesley Blake and Bo Dallas were the other ones on the list there that I have here.
Well, Wesley, I would love to see go wherever,
what's his name? His
Steve Cutler, but he changed it.
I can't remember what he changed. Yeah, but
he's back to before he was Steve Cutler, he was Steve Macklin, or Tommy Macklin, but now he's Steve Macklin.
Okay,
so I would love to see
a little
those
bit
two.
of the recognition. Yeah,
I would love those two to reunite, because I thought they were a great tag team.
They had a little interaction on Twitter after the announcement
with the Paul Rudd meme.
Yeah,
it's just us. Yeah. I would love to see those two. those two have a great chemistry, and they're friends. And what makes
they're also
the
two out of the three that weren't supposed to get released. And the other one's on TV, so fuck
and
us, I guess.
the one who had the most heat in the locker room. Without but I would love to see those two take their tag team somewhere. I would like to see those two go as a team somewhere, because when they got brought over to SmackDown, and they really had to fight for a lot of things to get on air and stuff like that. And I know what they're capable of. And maybe I'm a little biased because I helped train Macklin. But I know, and WWE.
I would like to see them in AEW, because I think the AEW tag division.
Yeah.
I would love to see some new blood in there,
but while we're talking about, significant others, Macklin is with Deonna Purrazzo. They're engaged. They just bought a house together, and that's an option. I'm not saying I have any inside knowledge, because I don't.
But again, and when we say again, it's not
he's
going to get a job
there. Where you going?
He's going to get a job there because his fiance and all. Again, what we're saying is, if I'm the head of Impact, and I'm looking over at him and saying, like, man, I'd like to talk to him and see where his head's at or anything. Well, who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to his fiance that works there. I'm going to say, hey, I want to give him a call. You think he'd be open to that? Like, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's like that she's going to be like, hey, do you think you can get him a job? And I think too often there's like that implication. But what happens is, it's like what I said with like Chelsea Green, like, there's no, Tony Khan's not racking his brain going, how am I going to get her number? Can I send her a DM? Can I do whatever? He's going to go, hey, Cody, I'd really love for her to come down to one of the shows. I'd like to talk to her. I'd like to kind of feel out, whether or not she'd be interested. And that's what I mean when I say that there's those relationships there and those interactions. But the last one I want to, I'm sorry, there was one other one. Mojo Rawley was announced. He's not on the list.
I was a shocker too.
Well, I guess they're not doing it. They're done in Tampa, so they don't have any reason to have Gronk. So without Gronk, why do you need Mojo Rawley?
From my understanding, he's a great guy, great talent. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Again, a lot of them can kind of write their own ticket, of where they're going to go.
I'm interested to see where Tucker goes. He should. I want to see him do like a Bruiser Brody type gimmick. He's got the look. Yeah, he's a great talent. I mean, everybody who got released is super talented, and they're going to prosper. You
don't know where they're going to go. Character-wise, either, and I think about, which of course was cut way too short, and looking at Brody Lee. Yeah, I mean him. But if you look for getting the tragic end of all of this, Luke Harper was such a beloved character, and Brody Lee was just the antithesis of Luke Harper from a character standpoint. So you don't know what, and again, obviously that just, we could go on for hours about what a freaking tragedy and how awful that was. But I mean, it shows you don't know, just because, you look at like Tucker, what he was doing before, like you're saying a Bruiser Brody, who knows what he could do. And he could end up with, Brody Lee would have had the greatest success of his career with the character that he had in AEW. It's interesting to see what'll happen. And then the last one here, Bo Dallas, you tweeted out, how it's like I mean, I'm just picturing, the late great Roland Alexander with the tear in his eye about how it's a travesty, but like the fact that they never put him with the Wyatt family when they couldn't figure out what else to do, he would have excelled in that. Yeah. I mean, they teased the thing when he was with the the B team or whatever it was, and they did the parody, and they did a parody of the Wyatts, and he did a parody of his brother and did his brother's voice, and I was like, brother, that is money. There's money here. Yep.
There's money to be made. It could have been. I'm going to say this, but it could have been a Kane Undertaker part 2, like Brothers of Destruction, but in a different way. They're more of a mind games type thing.
I just think, I'm reading in the article where it says he hasn't wrestled since Crown Jewel in October of 2019, and there'd been no explanation for his absence. But it was recently reported that he was preparing for life after wrestling by getting into real estate and living on the farm he shares with Liv Morgan, which I did not know he shared a farm with Liv Morgan, but good on him.
Hey, real estate's a good business to get into, especially down there, man.
That's what I've been told. But no, the
hey.
Yeah. Well, he's mortgages.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. I forgive you.
It's all Greeks to me.
Yeah. But no, I just, so maybe that's it. Maybe he's just like, did the wrestling thing. I'm good.
Smart.
But I remember his character from NXT before he got called up to the main roster. And I look at that, and that to me, I say Impact or Ring of Honor or AEW, where I look and I go, let him go wrestle. Yeah. Let him go be who he is. Let him go be the third generation star that he can be. It's forgotten a lot of the time that he has a blackjack for a grandfather. He's got Barry Windham for an uncle, and he's got IRS for a father. This dude, he doesn't have to be the Bo Leave guy, But then at the same time, even out of the B team character, Curtis Axel was released last year.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen or heard from him at all. So, you never know what people want or what their choices are, or maybe, but I don't know if maybe there's an opportunity for them as a team, but not as a comedy act, but as 2 third-generation stars. I mean, think about the promos that could come out of the fact that they were used as jokes in the WWE, and you show up another promotion, the 2 of them together. They are 2 thoroughbred third-generation stars. That's not a work. That's something that's real. And I would love to see, something happen with them. So, we spent an entire segment on on that one Ask Meanie question, but it's interesting.
It's great.
We spent almost as long as we spent booking Bill Apter's action figure.
And if I can, dude, the one thing that bothers me more than, the fact that people were released is people are like, how come it's, oh my God, they did it a year to the day of Black Wednesday, which was last year's releases. Folks, this is like something that happens every year after WrestleMania. It's the post-WrestleMania cuts. Yeah. I remember when I was in WWE and Gangrel turned to me and goes, man, I'm worried about those post-WrestleMania cuts. It's something as old as WrestleMania. They cut people after WrestleMania to bring in new talent.
It's a fresh, they say there's no seasons, no off season, and there is no off season, but they do have a refresh, and that's WrestleMania.
Yeah, it sucks they fired, these wrestlers, but then they just hired Taya Valkyrie, Right. And that's they're bringing,
And look at the people who are back though. You talk Taya Valkyrie, her husband, John Morrison.
Yep.
You look at him, look at Shelton Benjamin. How long were those guys gone from the company? So it's not always the end of the world when someone's released. Doesn't mean they won't be back. Doesn't mean they won't find greater success and never come back. It's so this can be a really good thing. You never want to see someone lose a job, but to me, I look at guys. I mean, Drew McIntyre is your poster boy for getting released and working your way back and becoming the best. Bobby Lashley went to Impact for how long? And now he's back and he's world champion. It's not a death sentence on their career if they don't want it to be, and so it's exciting.
You can always go back.
John at Embro1, Meanie, I got to know, Abbott and Costello, yes or no? If so, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, absolutely. Abbott and Costello are awesome. Can I name a movie? I don't think I could name a movie, just because as a kid growing up, they were always on TV and repeats and stuff like that. I always saw like whatever it was, a hour episodes or whatever. But oh my God, absolutely, Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, you want to talk
who's
Abbott
on first?
Costello to someone for a couple hours? Talk to Bill Apter.
Yeah, who's on first was like is their staple go to.
Yeah, I can't say a movie, but I can say who's on first. Is that there's nothing
That's easy.
that beats that.
I mean, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy or something like that. They did a whole bunch of different great stuff, and they're very influential. I mean, they're right up there with the Three Stooges. You know.
Yeah. You ever been to the There's the Three Stooges Museum. Somewhere in around us in PA.
They're from South Philly.
Yeah, but there's something. There's like there's a museum. Like basically, it's like a guy created this museum, and he like runs it out of his house. And never been.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my wife's been before, and she's like, "Yeah, you should go check that out." So,
Cool.
Chris at Chris WD 2009. What were some of the worst experiences Josh and the Blue Meanie have had as wrestling promoters? I thought that was a cool question because we've been asked what experiences we've had with promoters, but as promoters, you want to take this first?
Just having your vision and not even getting a chance to obtain that vision because so many different factors, whether it's the airline's going, nope, that flight ain't taking off, or you pitch an idea to somebody and they don't want to do it. And another thing about being a promoter is, you have to, you come to everybody wants to be booked. And you can't book everybody. And you become the asshole. Oh, Meanie hates me, or Meanie's an asshole, he won't book me. Dude, there's only so many spots on the card. And I can't have these marathon shows, and I got a budget.
Yep.
So somebody's got to get paid. Somebody's got to book somebody. I got to book somebody. I got to pay somebody. If I book more people, that's less money to pay people with. So there's that aspect. And it's just when 3PW shut down, I was kind of relieved because there was so much, as fun as it was and the great atmosphere in those shows, it brought some of the biggest anxiety in my life to where it's like, oh my God, just please, God, take me. Just stress, and watching that stress play out in public opinion. It's like, ugh.
For me, I would say two things. One, and this is top of the list, no shows.
Oh, yeah.
No shows or last minute cancellations, but even more than last minute cancellations, it's the no shows. We had a lot of that. There were, guys, I remember specifically Devin Moore. Do you know Devin? Mm-hmm. Devin Moore no-showed. And he had worked with us for years. And then at one point just no-showed. A guy named Justin Cage worked with us for years. And then at one point just no-showed. And to me, I just, we paid them every time they were there. And always took care of them. No showing is not, there's no excuse for it. No. Especially nowadays, shoot a text, a tweet, a phone call, a email, a message, like whatever it is. If you can't, because that's the thing, canceling's one thing. But when you're there and it's day of and you can't get a hold of them and you're thinking, okay, well, what am I doing? Rebooking? And I remember we did a show. We were doing internet TV at the time. This is back in 2007. We're doing internet. We had an internet show. And we were doing a 3-episode taping. And we had those two no-showed and maybe one or two other people.
Yeah.
No, one or two other people cancel, like let us know in advance, but backed out to the point where we had to kind of rewrite things. Well, we ended up doing 3 weeks of pretty much, what they do in WWE now, where it's the same match again and again and again. And I remember this one fan who had been like a super fan of ours from the very beginning. And then she had started training, I guess, or whatever. And she's like, yeah, this was really bad. Like, you guys can't put on the same matches again and again. Like, we don't want to see that. Right. And I remember saying to her, I'm like, I appreciate that. But let me explain this to you. We didn't have a single repeat match booked. And then this one no-showed, and that one no-showed, and that one canceled, and that one canceled. And when you're left with a roster of however many people and you have to put on 3 shows, guess what? You're going to have repeat matches, or you're going to have, because you have your heels and your baby faces, you can only do so much. And so that was the worst thing. The other thing was that feeling when very few people showed up. When you'd promote and promote and promote, and it just didn't work. And and you're waiting by the curtain, and you're looking, and not a lot of seats are getting filled, and and that happens. And I've experienced, I'm sure, I don't know with your experience with that, Meanie, but I mean, I experienced shows where we were like, do you hear that? And we're like, oh my God, is that our audience? And we look out and it's like packed, and we're like, what happened? How did this happen? This is incredible. Yeah. And I've also had, the next month where it's crickets, and you're like, what happened? Where these people had a blast last month? What, and it's, those were the worst parts.
There was a couple years in a row, we had shows booked that we're going head to head with the Eagles playoff game, and you're like, motherfucker. Yep. And then, there's the time when XPW leased out the ECW arena, which eventually they never paid their fucking rent, so they had to get kicked out. But in the meantime, every promotion that was running the arena had to find a new venue. Yep. And we ran our first post-ECW arena show at the Electric Factory in Philly, which is like one of the best concert venues in Philly. And our first show, we had over 1,000 people. Place, people were hanging out, and it was a great time. And then, like, the shows start dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. It's like, ugh. And then we went back to the arena, and we were fine again. But there's something weird about running a show in downtown Philly where you got to pay for parking and stuff like that. Where the arena, you just find street parking.
Yeah, it can make it challenging.
There's so many different factors that I don't miss.
Yeah. Ringside Rant Jones, our good buddy over there, Ringside Rant, wants to know, if you were to come back for one more match, who would it be against and why? I'm assuming he's asking you.
Like I said, I want to work with Orange Cassidy, so, and I got matches coming up in Alaska, which I think might be doing one match with Matt Cardona. We shall see. I don't know for sure. Awesome. It's going to be BWO all around the loop in Alaska. I don't know if this is going to be our farewell as the BWO, because Nova's, he's got a very successful life outside of wrestling as well. So I don't know if this is going to be his last series of matches, but for me, definitely Orange Cassidy.
If it were me, if anyone cares, it would be either a tag match with the Blue Meanie, a one-on-one match with the Blue Meanie, just because I'd like to do that, or if I really was feeling crazy and I don't have the energy to do this, it would be a match with Rich Swann, just because of the fact that he was my last match, as I tell everybody who will listen. If I was able to come back and have one more match with the same guy who has since gone from his first match to now being a world champion in Impact, and all the success he's had, all of the people he's gotten to work. The only reason I'd be nervous about it is because I don't think I could, after that many years off, and I'm not anywhere in the experience level that he is now. And it's funny to think about this guy that I led through a match and had to remind of things and call spots multiple times in the match, and because it was his first match. And now, oh my God, he would be carrying my ass but it would be,
the table has turned.
Yeah, I can't speak to the quality of it, but it would be fun to kind of do. But no, but for me, I'd want to do a tag match with the Blue Meanie. I think it would be fun. Hit my 3 moves and call it a day.
It's 2 more than me.
Yeah. And James Sorensen asks, what do you think of the WWE collection boxes that they put out? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know either.
So put that, if you can be more specific. And while you're doing that, Jonathan Chambers writes, what's some of the weirdest merch you guys have seen?
I don't know.
There's been, back in the 90s, like they'd put out anything. I remember in Beyond the Mat, they showed that thing of the Austin with the eyes. It's like a wall hanging of a plastic Stone Cold whose eyes follow you. The fuck wants that? Like, what is that? I remember watching Beyond the Mat when it first came out in theaters and going like, who buy it? Like they're like pitching it to Vince McMahon. They're like, and we've got this cool thing. And I'm thinking to myself, what what is this? James Sorensen clarified by saying the ones they do for superstars. Well, I still have no idea what you're talking about, James. I'm sorry.
Work on that.
The WWE collection boxes that they do for superstars. Are you talking about like their belts and stuff? Like where they do like the custom, like, because I know Mick Foley just showed there's going to be like a Mankind.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah.
The brown leather.
This one, Russell Taysom asks, what's the meaning of life? Which I just thought was fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Any day I open up my eyes and put my feet on the floor. It's a good meaning of life.
And last question here.
Make it count.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it count. Let's see. Here, Saki the sock puppet. What do wrestlers think of puppets like me and why? That's not going to be the question. Here's a great one. Patrick in Florida.
Yes.
Can you please unblock me? I'm sorry I poked fun at the Eagles fans that celebrated the Super Bowl victory by eating police horse manure. I promise to never do it again. Thank you, Meanie, for your consideration.
I don't even remember that.
I think he's just joking, but it just cracked me up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to save some of these other ones but I will say Tom Campbell at Cultaholic asked, what 3 wrestling matches would you watch if you were stranded on a desert island? And would this be something you'd be up for answering on Cultaholic when time allows? Well, Cultaholic, for those of you who don't know, it's daily news and features from the world of professional wrestling. They're very successful and very well known.
Yes. Yeah.
And Meanie would probably love to be on their show and talk. So how about one of the 3 matches and the other 2, maybe you can go do an appearance on Cultaholic.
Oh, Bobby Eaton versus Arn Anderson from Super Brawl, where Bobby Eaton wins the TV belt. It's probably one of my favorite matches all time.
Sweet.
That you ask me tomorrow, it might be something different, but that's definitely one of a match I've worn out, like on VHS, where the tape breaks.
Well, tune into Cultaholic.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. My schedule's so screwed up right now. It's just okay. I try not to complain, but it's just like it's goofy.
So So Sorensen sent over on Instagram, sent this thing. So I did see this Edge limited edition collector's box. Here's like an example. So it's got a Edge t-shirt and a little Micro Brawler ripoff and Edge sunglasses and like a little, looks like a belt buckle that looks like the Spinner rated R belt. And it's got Edge's old rated R beanie.
So it's basically a wrestle crate.
pretty much. It's yeah. There you go. It's yeah.
It's a wrestle crate.
Here's my feeling on it. Depends on what's in it. If it's cool,
Yeah.
that's my. If it looks like crap, then I don't really care about it. But
Somewhere around here, I'm sorry. Somewhere around here, I have a pair of Edge's sunglasses I got.
His actual sunglasses?
Yeah. He just reminded me because he had a deal going on with this company. I forget what they're called. They're called Flies or something like that. Flies. The glasses company was called Flies.
Oh, back in the day, the ones where he had the weird. I mean, I know Christian had the ones that went over the head, but
Edge had the ones that they sent him. Like the company sponsored them, and they just gave him, "Hey, wear these to the ring." And he's like, awesome. He just looked at me and went, "Hey, here." And I caught it, and I was like, "Oh, all right."
Wow, that's pretty awesome. You'll have to wear that next week.
I have to find them.
Yeah. Well, that's it for those. Some great questions.
Absolutely.
That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's a good show.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I don't have a name for this show.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
As usual, we'll ask the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad. What plastic comb-over? What are we going for? What's the...
let's say, because we always never remember what we talked about.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Well, I think for this one, it's nice. We went into great detail about the releases.
Yeah.
And our dream action figure.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that a little bit. But hey, thank you everybody so much for tuning in here. We really appreciate it. This is always fun for us. I can't believe it's episode 56. Seems like we just did episode 50. So we're just
it's a good football jersey.
Yeah. We're rocking and rolling here. We're just gonna keep going. So hope no one has a problem with that.
No.
Yeah. But hey, do us a favor and follow us on social media. If you would, at Mind of the Meanie across all platforms. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Twitter. If you would be so kind, we'd really love for you to check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Mind of the Meanie. Just give us a little like, hit subscribe, and ding that little bell so that you'll know when you get some great new things like the interview that we did with Giovanni Hamilton, Mrs. Meanie Run-Ins, Talking with Friends. So check it all out. These are all the things, and who knows, maybe even a Meanie Toons could pop up again one day. One day, maybe. I don't know.
If this time frees up.
Yeah. And follow us as individuals too. He is at Blue Meanie BWO. I'm at So Says Shernoff. Check out our merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff. And of course, we're on Cameo. Cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. Cameo.com/So Says Shernoff. You can go if you're still wanting to know more about WrestleMania. Check out the Meanie Mania, available in the archives on Fight and on our Facebook, Facebook.com/Mind of the Meanie, and our YouTube, YouTube.com/Mind of the Meanie, because it was a simulcast. So check those nights out. Those were a blast. Meanie, any other things we want to cover here? Go to ChellaToys.net if you're outside the U.S. and pick up our action figures, or go to mindofthemeanie.com if you're inside the U.S. and pick up our action figures, or anywhere in the world you can go to mindofthemeanie.com if you would like our signed concept art. You can purchase that as well. Now then, Meanie, anything else you want to say?
As always, thank you for each and every one of you for tuning in and listening to us and watching us on the Patreon and all the love and support you guys show us, because we are nothing without you.
Well, this has been a blast. As always, tune in next Monday and every Monday for another trip into the mind of the Meanie.
Blue World Order. The world of MLW radio never stops.